Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening again, man. I'm back. Had some technical difficulties, but we worked through them and back on here with you guys for tonight. I hope all is well, and I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope everything is going well with you. But in all of that, man, I'm just glad to be back on here. Looking forward to having this conversation with you guys again. And won't be on here long, but again, glad to be back. Been off for a couple weeks. Took some time off for myself. Nothing wrong with that, and I highly recommend that. And highly recommend you do some traveling, man, if you can. But a lot of times it's just taking the time to get away. But again, man, football season is going strong, and I just hope all is well. Won't be before you long tonight, and just want to get right into the conversation. Looking forward to it. And definitely encourage the dialogue. If you feel like you want to participate, make sure you participate, make sure you jump in. But besides all of that, man, we're going to get on and get started with it, because tonight's conversation, I think, is a very interesting conversation, something that came across my heart to talk about, because it's the truth and it is what it is. But, tonight what we're going to discuss is people will support and be there for those who they truly want to be there for. That's bottom line up front. No matter how you try to put it, no matter how people try to sell it, they will be there for the people they truly want to be there for. And sometimes what happens is we can get caught up with wanting the best and hoping for the best with people. But the reality is those people will only be there for who they want to be there for. If somebody wants to be there, somebody wants to be there for you, somebody wants to be supportive of you, they don't have to be convinced to do that. They don't have to be reminded for all of those things. They will be there, genuinely be there. You won't have to say nothing. You won't have to remind them. You won't have to press them. When people are genuinely there and supportive of other people, they will be there. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're questioning it and you don't know, or it come into question, really what it boils down to is they don't want to be there for you. And you just got to be okay with it. I mean, that's the God honest truth. And it's not trying to be hurtful or anything, but it is what it is, and I've said it many times before, but it's the God honest truth. But a lot of times you think about it, people will make time for whatever is important to them. They will make time for that. They'll make time for the people that's important to them. They will make time for whatever it is. Don't let nobody try to give you any excuse, because nothing will come into the place. Nothing will come into play when it comes to somebody doing something they really want to do. No matter what excuse, no matter what obstacle, no matter what it is. So stop allowing people, don't allow people to try to tell you and convince you that something else was more important when they wasn't there for you. Especially if you are always there for you, they can depend on your yes. Don't allow people to make you try to justify why they wasn't there. They wasn't there because they didn't want to be there. And no matter what excuse they try to use, do not accept that, because that is straight baloney. And they trying to blow smoke up your behind, like they used to say in the old days. So don't even worry about that. Take it for what it is and treat them accordingly. You ain't got to be nasty, but treat them accordingly. Just tell you that's what it is. And we know that. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but it can become a hard pill to swallow. But sometimes we just got to look at it. And sometimes what we just have to do is we have to sit down, and sometimes we just have to think and really be logical and look at how somebody treats us, and stop wishing the best, wishing that, hey, we can desire somebody to want to do for us and be there for us all we want. We can desire that, and it can be deep down in our core. And many times in life, we'll be disappointed because the people that we want to be there for us won't be there for us. But what we have to start doing is we got to start looking at this thing and accepting people and things for who they are. Some people will present that they're there for you, but some people are only there for you because they benefit from being connected to you. I'm talking about people that genuinely want to be there for you. You would never have to question that. You would never. That would never be in question. It would never be thinking about, are they there for me? No, they will be there for you. And people have their reasons. And guess what? You can't control their reasons. You can control who you continue to give access to when they show you that they're not there for you. I mean, that's what it is. And have you ever really, if you can relate to what I'm saying, just let me know, because I know we can relate to, and people can relate to people not being there for them, but want to act like it, you know. And this what it is. And I know one of the hardest things that people do is, you know, people try to give excuse, but many people will try to give you excuses to just in a sense of justifying why they're not there, to cover up their unwillingness to make you a priority. I'm not suggesting that you got to be the center of gravity or the center of the world for somebody. No, what I am saying is for those people, it's some people that they know that they don't make time for. They know that they just do enough to be tolerated, or they do enough because they know they benefit from being connected to you, but they really don't want to be there for you. When somebody genuinely want to be there for you, there's no discussions and then what they need to do to be there for you, period. But if you got the pride, you got the pull, and you got the reminder, you got to do all of those things, you have to come to a point that, hey, I'm not that important to that person. And then you got to judge and adjust yourself or govern yourself accordingly. Because sometimes people will show you, but because we want to see the best in people, we end up burning ourselves out in the end when they showed us who they were in the first place. I mean, that right there is something that many of us don't like to do, but it's the God honest truth. And I got to say that again. I got to make sure we get that. But many times what we try to do is we end up disappointing ourselves, hoping for the best that somebody else going to be there for or want to be there for us and support us in the way that we think or desire them to be, but they really don't want to. And we get frustrated, we get mad. And the reason why we get frustrated and we get mad because many times we feel like we can desire, because we desire something, that we're deserving of it. No, we're not deserving of anybody being there for us. We're the ones that control who we give access to and who we be there for in our lives. And this can go into a spouse, this can go into any relationships, this can go with your kids, this can go with your parents, this can go with family, this can go with any type of relationship. You're the one that control who you give access to. So stop getting upset at other people for not being there for you when you continually choosing to be there for them. You just got to pull back, and it's okay to say no. We got to get comfortable with saying no, because many times people will use us for our yes and not respect it because we freely give it out. We freely give it out, and then we get mad at other folks. And the reality is that falls on us. That right there falls on us. Man, I tell you, I know it's hard and I know it's frustrating, but it's the God honest truth. You know, being there for people can be very frustrating, especially people, and I'm talking about consistently. Many of us have consistently been there for folks, always been there for us. When they called us, we was right there with them. We were there when they needed us. In times they need us, they pick up the phone and we were there. But we find ourselves when we need them or we need something for them, that's always an excuse. Well, I couldn't make it because I was working, or I did this and I did that. No, take it for what it is. Stop giving people the benefit of the doubt for them not being there for you. Judge accordingly, and then turn around. I'm not telling you to be nasty, but I'm telling you, protect your goddamn yes. Protect your yes. Stop saying yes to these folks. Stop being there. And you'll start to see them change, and they'll start to say you changing. But no, you ain't changed. You just start treating them accordingly the way that they treated you. Because the reality was they are cool with you as long as they can benefit from you. And this can be family and friends alike. So don't get your heart broken over. I'm telling you, don't get your heart broken over that. I'm telling you, man, and this is something that I know is hard. It's hard to accept. Because, you know, we look around but this is a reality that we have to come to. When you get comfortable with telling people no and not answering the people, you will find out those people will respect your no, because people will tend to depend on your yes because they know that you have always been looking out for them. But one thing that I had to learn was, it's funny how they call me when they need something, but when they have something, they never call me to offer. They never call me to offer to see how I'm doing, to see what I need. It's always been beneficial towards them. So when you learn to say no, you'll start to see people start to treat you differently. And that's fine, because I don't mind you treating me differently, because you never really truly respected me. Because those who truly respect you, they will be consistent with you when they have or when they don't have. They will be consistent with checking up on you when they ain't benefiting from you. They will be consistent with being there for you when there's nothing in return for them. Those are the people that you need to prioritize and let them other ones go. I'm telling you, let them other people go. And the reason why I'm suggesting that, the reason why I'm talking about that, the reason why I'm discussing that is not for you to be nasty, but it's just for us to come to the reality of the truth. And the reality of the truth is, and this is going to be hard for some people, but everybody that stands, quote unquote, stand with you and be around you, that don't mean that they're there for you. Some people are only connected to you because they benefited from being with you. They either benefited from being associated with you. They benefited from your generosity. They benefited from your heart and the person that you are. They're benefiting financially from you. They're benefiting emotionally from you. They're benefiting in all these other ways from you. But think about it. Sit down and ask yourself, what are you actually benefiting from them? What are you actually getting from them? What is being reciprocated back to you? Or when you need them, what excuses are they giving? What always come up? Do they offer you the same freedom, access to them that you give to them? And many times it's no. And in those situations where it's no, we got to learn to say, you know what? Hey, no problem with me. I ain't got no issues. I just know that you don't have the same level of access to me that I once gave to you. And I protect my yes because I realize you don't respect my yes. And that's the reality of what many times what we got to get to. How you doing, Miss Coates? Hey, good evening to you. What's up, Erica? How you doing? Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, Mr. Hesman. Appreciate you. Thank you, my brother, tuning in all the way up in Brooklyn. But yeah, man, we got to stop doing it. And that's on us. That's not on other people. That right there is on us. 100% on us. And this is the other thing that I've learned too. We got to stop getting mad at people for taking advantage of our kindness when we are the ones freely giving it, because many of them didn't ask us to be kind. And I'm not suggesting you don't be kind, right? But what I am saying is you have to be able to communicate if you expect something in return, because some people are just there because they can benefit from it, but we never require them to do anything. And we have to be able to communicate that, because just because we're operating in our assumptions, that's not a reality for other people. And that's where we have to be able to communicate and be like, hey, I'm not going to get mad at you for being kind to you, because I was always kind to you and I was always freely willing to do that for you. But I never call you to be there for me or expecting that to be there, expecting you to be there like that for me. So in return, I just need to communicate that, and I can cut off for me doing the things that I was doing for you. That's not me doing it in a nasty way, but that's just me saying, hey, I corrected my behavior and I adjusted. Yeah, you see how that works? That's not you saying that you being nasty to somebody or you're trying to be unreal or get back at somebody. No, that's just realizing that, hey, I need to change. I need to adjust. I need to move in a certain way for myself. And this is one thing that I've learned too. But people will be there for whoever they want to be there for. I'm talking about when you can look at it with parents, with kids, and I can see this because I see it a lot. People will try to use a lot of things and try to use this excuse. Well, I was working and I was trying to provide this life for you and I was doing that. Yeah, that goes only to a certain point. But many times they ain't there because they don't want to be there. They're just using that as an excuse, because many times the money don't replace the moment. And I think a lot of people miss that. Your money ain't going to replace the moments that you miss. Your money ain't going to replace the memories. Your moments ain't going to replace just that connection and that bond of just being there for somebody. And somebody shouldn't always have to ask you to be there. Some things, people, you benefit from people. So why the same people that you benefit from have to even ask you to be there for them? And the reason why is because we know we're selfish and we don't want to be held accountable. That right there's the God honest truth. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care how you try to argue it. That's what it is. And I say that because, I will say this and we know this, but when it comes to certain people in our lives, we'll drop everything. When it comes to my mama, my kids, my family, hey, I'm dropping everything. I'm going to be there for them regardless. But I've seen people choose their jobs over their families. And the reason why they choose that is because it's self-serving. It's all self-serving. You can say it's the money, you can say it's the promotion, you can say whatever you're going after, but it's all self-serving. But at the end of the day, that job cannot replace your family. That job is just something that you do. Your family is a part of who you are. And when we know about being there for people, when we're truly there for people, they never have to really ask us to be there. We're always there. And we know that the people that we don't want to be there for, we will find ways not to be there. And what I'm saying is people will support and be there for whoever they want to be there for. So if somebody is not there for you and you got to ask for it, you need to look yourself in the mirror and realize that they really don't want to be there and adjust accordingly. Period. I'm not telling you to be mad. I'm not telling you to hold any grudges. I'm not telling you or suggesting any of that. What I'm speaking from is just learning from, hey, I learned, okay, if I ain't on that level with you, no matter what. And this is where we got to get to, because I think a lot of times we get frustrated with it. But sometimes we'll realize that some people aren't really there for us. And we have to get to a space where we're not frustrated and looking at it as a loss, because it feels like we lost. We feel like, man, they done got over on us. I done did all of this stuff, this, that, and the third for them, and they ain't there for me. No, I just look at it as a lesson learned. I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as a lesson learned, and I adjust accordingly, and I'll move on. I ain't got to sit there and try to get anything back, because everything that I did, if I did it from a genuine place, then I can rest in it. I didn't do it to be manipulative. I didn't do it to try to get something out of somebody else. I did it from a good space. And I learned to realize that it's not a loss. It's a lesson learned. And the lesson learned is I learned and I adjust my actions accordingly. And then I treat people the people that are there for me, I give them that full access that they provide me. And the other ones, hey, they get treated differently. They get treated differently. My mom said that's maturity. Yes. And it's to get to the space where I'm not going to waste my time, energy, and effort trying to get back at anybody, because me getting back at them is not going to change anything. So that's just me. That's just what I wanted to say, what I wanted to talk about tonight. I told you I didn't want to be on here long, but I wanted to jump on here and have that discussion, because I felt like, many of us, we desire people to be in our lives, and we desire people to do stuff for us, and we get disappointed. We get disappointed when they show us who they are. They show us that we're not really a big deal for them. And guess what? Don't be mad. Just learn. Just like he said, long hand and spoon. And I ain't being nasty towards you. I just realized where I stood. And I just adjusted accordingly. Ain't no love lost. Ain't no nothing. But at the end of the day, you will not have the same access that you had to me before. Hey, man, you guys have a great and wonderful day, man. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for your continued support, man. Next episode will be episode 200. That's crazy. Crazy. Been going strong for 200 episodes, 4 years. Hey, man, make sure you go, you subscribe to my social media platforms, the Conversation 98 on YouTube, on here, on the Conversation 98 on Instagram at 98 Conversation, on Twitter, the Conversation _98 on TikTok. And Erica said, we have to learn to wear our sleeves, not in our hearts. Yes, we learn how to not to wear our heart on our sleeve. Yes. And the other thing too is, and this is not a knock, but my mom said a big lesson in learning: you are not as important to others. You prioritize. Boy, what? Listen, Mom, I got to hit on that one. I got to hit on that. That's a good one right there. That's a good one right there. We got to learn to not get in our feelings when we realize that we're not as important to others who we prioritize. Don't get in your feelings about it. Don't get mad about it. Just once we learn, adjust accordingly. Because the reality is the same thing. We can feel some type of way about that. We realize that we're not a priority to other people. Other people can feel the same type of way about us, because a lot of times we operate off assumptions and we operate it off of what we want, and we ain't really have a conversation with the other person. We just assume that they thought this that way. But the reality is our assumptions may be wrong, or that person may change. And guess what? No love lost. Ain't no love lost. No love lost. Hey, I got you. See how it is. Take that with a grain of salt, and then I adjust and I move accordingly. and I adjust accordingly. I realize you won't have the same level of access that you had before, and I will put you in the same place that I suppose that you put me in. And that's not a tit for tat. That's just a reality of life. And I see you how you see me, and that's okay. I prioritize you. You didn't prioritize me, so I will no longer prioritize you. I still can remain to have love for you. I still can remain to have respect for you. But you being in a place and having access the way that you did before, not happening. Not happening. And that ain't a slight of everything, but to wear situation on our sleeve and not our heart. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then just growing and maturing. Because once we grow and mature, we realize some stuff that we want or we desire, it ain't the same. It ain't nothing. That's nothing wrong with that. We change. Other people change. So stop trying to hold them 100% accountable for it and just love them for who they are, because they have the right to change the same way we did. So, man, you guys have a great and wonderful evening, man. I hope you guys are blessed. Man, come back, support, man. Again, I look forward to just being on here. I've been gone for a couple weeks. It's good to get back. And you guys have a blessed and wonderful week. God bless.